Hello, we are Team 24, and today we are presenting the impact of information technology on cities, and specifically how this impacts the environment. The start of the Industrial Revolution in the mid-1700s marked a major change in the Earth's climate and a new geological time period. This entirely human-caused motion, executed through machines, factories, and especially the advent of computer technology in the 1950s, has led to many irreversible environmental changes. The featured image indicates the current landscape of southern Ontario and New England lit up at night, the outcome of centuries of infrastructure development and human technology. A significant consequence of the rise of information technology is increased electricity consumption. This is particularly reflected in the rise of internet users by a factor of 1,000 since 2007, as well as a rise in mobile devices which require electricity for charging. Each year, electricity demand increases by 16 to 20%. This in turn causes increased CO2 emissions and climate change, as there is still a large dependence on fossil fuels to generate electricity. IT has also led to a significant amount of waste from electronic hardware. Cities and countries such as India and China have markets entirely based on the recycling of electronic waste to recover precious metals and transistors. However, the workers who do so are exposed to noxious gases which can cause increased lead levels and even fatality. In this way, IT is negatively impacting the health of these communities with compromised economies. With ride-sharing companies such as Uber and Lyft becoming more prominent in today's major cities, there also comes the question of the impact this trend has on the environment. Some researchers, such as those from the University of California, Berkeley, have used IT to claim that ride-sharing has a positive impact, namely in more densely populated cities such as San Francisco, LA, and New York. They base their preliminary claims on the following. 1. That Uber and Lyft drivers are constrained to using newer vehicles, which are less pollutive than older cars. 2. That these companies promote sharing rides with other passengers, effectively reducing the amount of cars on the road. 3. That with more Uber and Lyft drivers, the demand for personally owning a car is inclined to decrease. And 4. That people may also be motivated to use public transit if a ride-sharing service is available in stops. A counter-argument here is that those who take trips with Uber or Lyft are more often to go out than if this service was not available, hereby creating more of an environmental impact. Yet, information technology also has the potential to reverse its environmental impact. Current research initiatives aim to improve the way we use technology by measuring energy usage and using this to plan environmentally responsible neighborhoods. A notable example of this is Sidewalk Lab's contribution to the Waterfront Toronto project. It includes a generative design tool to enable users to design neighborhoods and view the corresponding environmental impact. In turn, planning departments and cities can better design environmentally friendly cities. Sidewalk Lab is also researching smart grid technology, which can enhance existing electrical distribution networks. This assesses the best way to deliver energy from its source to the consumer. Energy sources can range from nuclear or stable sources, hydro or swing sources, and renewable energy sources such as solar and wind, which are intermittent. Smart grid technology works to include intermittent energy sources whenever possible. In other words, it includes a multitude of power sources and reduces vulnerability points that improve upon the one plant per area model that is prominent in today's city infrastructure. Insight on AI in the context of the environment can be gained from electrical and computer engineering professor Mark Curley, who specifically researches AI and machine learning.
Like, climate change is a big problem, right? And to make progress on tackling climate change and improving our society, our response to it, you have to kind of break it down into kind of smaller components. So one thing people focus on is the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which have kind of very concrete, kind of different aspects and metrics and goals to address different things. And so the different goals listed in that way, you could imagine AI being used to kind of tackle different aspects of it, right? So most of those goals, you need to improve your ability to predict, weather or impacts of policies in society on the environment or on our sustainable kind of energy usage. And so prediction and decision making and optimization are things that AI can help with. With forest fire specifically, we look at trying to build better models of predicting forest fire spread directly from satellite data, weather data, other data that's been collected to help improve on models that people have used. And AI can do that because it's good taking in a lot of information and learning a new model and giving it predictions. It can also be used to make decisions. So if you give it the goals or the targets that you want to achieve, you can try to optimize the policy.
To conclude, smart technology is on its way to helping humans make better decisions when it comes to the environment and how we plan our cities, but only if we prioritize environmental impacts in the application of a given technology. Thank you for listening to our discussion. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them below.
The first way to minimize computers' impact on the environment is by avoiding wasting electricity. We should turn off our computer and monitor when not in use. It could make such a big difference in energy use. Next, we should use power management settings appropriately. This action could make our computer and monitor use less power than the regular operating mode. The third one is turning off peripherals when not in use, such as printers, scanners, speakers, external drivers, and gaming system. The fourth one is use laptop or tablet instead of desktop. This is because they typically consume less power. And the last one, we should consider buying energy efficiency computer. We should look for the energy study bill that is available at the devices.
Next, these are specific action and ways for IU instructor that can reduce resource use both in and outside of classroom. For example, save paper and classroom projector. First, we can save paper by grading assignment online. For example, a lecturer should accept and grading assignment online or electronically by using an app such as Canvas. Next, any lecturer can share information electronically by using email so the student can access it. Lastly, we can encourage students to print only needed or use print setting for a smaller margin to minimize paper use. Other than that, we also can save classroom projector by turning on projector if necessary and not on the beginning of the class when they are not in need. We also need to log off the computer and shut down the projector at the end of the class to save power.
Next is dispose of all equipment responsibly. There are two types of equipment, which is departmental equipment and personal equipment. For departmental equipment, they have a proper disposal, which is owned by IU. While for personal equipment, you can bring your personal equipment to the hazardous material facility. It can help you to recycle without any fees, and it allows items to be refurbished and utilized once more, expanding lifespan and preventing waste. Example of personal equipment is old batteries, cartridge, and cell phones.
Lastly, the impact on environment is to avoid wasting papers. So first, information that could be shared virtually also can be accessed on the social media. So people can read it on the social media. So this can help to reduce the usage of the papers. Next, only print necessary materials. For example, for students who have the assignments, finish the editing and do not print the early draft because it would be waste if something is wrong. Lastly, for unwanted paper can be recycled by selling it to the recycling center or even just put it in the recycling bins.
In my opinion, this article guides us about how to minimize some old equipment in many good ways.
From the article, I'm glad that there are still ways to make our environment safe. Through this article, I am much more aware about the negative impact of computers toward our environment, and so I will use digital equipment more properly.
Okay, for me, I will be using more technology such as iPad, taking notes to save papers for the future.